May I take this opportunity to extend my greetings to all of you colleagues who are here. The disadvantage I have is that I'm one of those who arrive early. But I then came in here after many of you were already seated. So a number of people have been introduced or acknowledged. Now it will be like I'm not professional if I don't acknowledge them, but some I don't believe they've arrived yet. May I take this opportunity to thank you, Program Director, for steering the ship and give us this comfort of participating in this program, which is very historic. My greetings to my dearest sister, the Deputy Minister of Trade, Industry and Competition, Ms. Nomalungelo Gina. May I take this opportunity to extend my greetings to former Ambassador of South Korea to South Africa, the Vice President of Afreximbank, the Senior Executive or Senior Director of Africa Finance Corporation, our host, Chairman of Nyanza, Mr. Matamela, as well as the CEO. I kindly request to call him Doneval. The CEO of Richards Bay Industrial Development Zone, Makeba. Distinguished guest, Donovan, the founder of the Nyanza Light Metals, remind us that the name of this dynamic, prosperous company is a Swahili name, which literally means river. In naming it river, he had aspiration that Nyanza would become a river of endless opportunities. Indeed, it is over a decade that this vibrant, confident brand has become a river, and if not the famous Nile, filled with titanium opportunities. In the age where Africa speaks in one voice, it is now time to benefit and beneficiate in Africa. What our leaders, Kwame Nkrumah, Julius Nyerere, and many others advanced decades ago, we are being now realizing it. As leaders of the BRICS countries meet during the 15th BRICS Summit, under the theme, BRICS and Africa, Partnership for Mutually Accelerated Growth, Sustainable Development and Inclusive Multilateralism, we wish to pay tribute to all participants and business community for placing Africa at the center of sustainable development, inclusive growth, and ensuring that no one is left behind. As we collectively build BRICS by BRICS, the Africa and the world of our dream. Your participation at this networking session is quite important, primarily because of phenomenal successes of the Nyanza Light Metal. We are confident that among you in this audience will be those who will partner with Nyanza, ensure that it grows. From ourselves as the Department of Public Works and Infrastructure, this project fits within the mandate of developing infrastructure in a collaborative approach. We've seen the Department of Trade, Industry and Competition leading in the establishment of special economic zones. Some of our learned friends created an impression that some of these SEZs will end up being white elephants. But we're grateful that we see the growth of the economy in a way that changed the landscape of the economy. Africa, from being the exporter of raw material through these special economic zones, Africa is becoming a production site that produces fine product. And I think the department deserves a big round of applause. Siyabonga. And I'm sure, Deputy Minister, you'll know our passion. We're grateful to the work you are doing. The former DG is here, but the department as a whole, Mr. Ngwenya, who has been with Nyanza for years, I'm sure now approaching patient njengam manje. You know, once you reach these ages, they wanted to introduce me. So I said, when you get old, you begin to be wary of things that will talk to your track record, end up showing how old you are. But this project fits very well within the vision of a better Africa and a better world. As His Excellency President Cyril Ramaphosa has previously said, as I quote, there are greater opportunities for BRICS countries to participate in infrastructure development and the African Continental Free Trade Area by locating production and services activities in the continent and partnering with local companies and entrepreneurs, close quote. It is in this regard that as the Department of Public Works, we're working hard to ensure that there is no investment in South Africa that is not taking place because of either the shortage of bulk infrastructure or anything that relates to infrastructure. We have recently engaged with Treasury and we've agreed that we will use the approved VULA product to support municipalities to provide bulk infrastructure that unlock investment. Well, it is VUMELA product. But equally, we've agreed that we will use build, operate, and transfer to ensure that if investors says they want to invest in a particular area and there is no bulk infrastructure, it becomes easy for them to put infrastructure, including the bulk, and then we see what becomes the rebate at the end. As we move toward the BRICS tomorrow and the day after tomorrow, we must all position Africa as a destination for investment, as a conducive continent for investors. Some of the projects that are in the pipeline of our Department of Infrastructure relate to the Durban Free State and Gauteng logistic and industrial corridor, where we will have a dry port that make it easy to feed to the Durban port. The Saldanha Northern Cape Development Corridor, the Boegoebaai Port and Railway Infrastructure Project, the upgrading and maintenance of N1, N2, N3 in Free State, KwaZulu-Natal and Limpopo. We believe that these projects are so strategic to make trade easy and to ensure that as African countries we are connected with a solid infrastructure. As the department, we are also going to market on a number of projects of infrastructure. These include the Bale Bridge border post, Ficksburg border post, Kop Fontaine border post, Libombo border post, Maseru border post, and Oshhoek. These are 6 points of port of entry in our country, which we have prioritized to build and some of these will be built through build, operate, and transfer. Many of you would have known now that we have issued the request for proposal for the Integrated Renewable Energy and Resource Efficient Program, IREREP, which seek to install alternative energy, water, and waste management system in government buildings. We are quite moved by the interest we've seen. This project will introduce 3,740 megawatts of equivalent capacity through renewable energy. It will assist in creation of about 500,000 jobs in our country. We therefore believe that growing infrastructure is quite important because infrastructure has a multiple effect. It leads to other sectors to develop. We reiterate that partnership and engagement between government, private sector, and entities that are in government, such as the Richards Bay Industrial Development Zone and others, should always be mutual and be based on trust. Transparency and accountability is important. We do not only stand ready as South African government to ensure that this inspiring story of Africa or story of Nyanza is replicated. We are also keen in ensuring that other potential investors are also supported to invest in our country. We want to say our country is open for investment. Our democratic institutions are resilient and reliable. The supremacy of the Constitution and adherence to the rule of law is sacrosanct for our nation. We applaud you, all of you, for a vote of confidence to Nyanza. As you put a vote of confidence to Nyanza, you are not only developing Richards Bay, but you are developing one of the prosperous cities in Africa. May Africa grow and open opportunities for all daughters and sons of Africa. I thank you.